Welcome to the Ask Me How I Know show. I'm your host, Julie Holly, and I'm so excited you're here. Ask Me How I Know is the only podcast in the multifamily niche replicating what takes place outside the walls of a seminar. Remember when we used to get together like that? This is like the lobby where honest, unscripted conversations take place and transformation happens. We'll talk about practical problem solving in the multifamily niche as well as overcoming mental roadblocks. This episode is brought to you by 3 Keys Investments. 3 Keys Investments is dedicated to helping people like you, you, enter the multifamily investment space to build passive income and legacy wealth. If you haven't already subscribed and reviewed Ask Me How I Know, I'd be honored if you did. Thanks so much for joining me today, and now for our featured guest. Hey guys, welcome back to another awesome episode of Ask Me How I Know. I am so over the moon. I have the happiest person on a Friday afternoon, no less, joining me today on Ask Me How I Know. Misty, thank you so much for joining us on a Friday afternoon.
I know I'm skipping happy hour for you, just so you know.
Whoa.
You should feel
Back
very
up the
special.
card a little bit. I think this is happy hour.
True, that's true. Where's our drinks?
I know. I have this talking rain stuff. It's pretty delicious. Sparkling water.
I love it.
And I have a straw, so I'm kind of feeling festive.
You're fancy. You're fancy for sure.
Yeah, exactly. You had your water bottle, so I
do.
We're going to have our own happy hour, and it is happy because we get to talk about our favorite topic, 2 of our favorite topics. One we didn't even discuss off air. 1, we get to talk about real estate, and 2, you're into mindset.
Oh, yes, I am. Big time.
Oh,
Big
my
time.
goodness gracious. I don't even know where to, this is like a kid in the candy store. I am like, where do I even start? Because, you see like the whole shelf of everything that you love and you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So, let's go ahead and let's start with, I want to go with mindset, but because I want to go with mindset, I'm going to go with real estate. And let's go down that because then we can really dive into mindset. And
Sure.
I won't feel like I have to cut it short at all.
Got it. Well, mindset plays a big part in real estate, so we can start there. And then the mindset stuff will just kind of trickle in as we talk about it, I'm sure. So I like it.
It's like chicken and egg.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you can't actually do the real estate without a mindset. But
Yeah, very true. Very, very true.
It is so true. I was really interested as we were talking, you were telling me about how you've gotten into coaching. And the interesting part about this is that it wasn't just that I just got into coaching, voila, it just happened magically. You were explaining how, I've been coaching for a whole bunch of years, but now I actually provide it and I'm compensated for my services.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you do with coaching?
Sure. So I've been doing real estate for about 4.5 years, and I would say probably around 3 of that, I feel like looking back, I've probably been coaching other people for about 3 of those years. I just wasn't charging for it. And the reason is because I love to share. Like I told you, I'm an open book. I think it's so important to share the lessons learned along the way. I do feel like in our industry, people only share all the positive and the glitz and the glamour of real estate investing, and nobody really shares how tough of a journey it is. And, mindset obviously plays a big part in that. And so for me, I am totally an open book and I love to share my lessons learned. So that's why I say I've been coaching for way longer than I've actually had a structured program and been charging for it, because I just always want to share. If I've learned something, I want to share. If I've messed up on something, I want to share. If I've done something great, I want to share. I've never been one of those people to keep things like, oh, I'm not going to share if I screw up because that's embarrassing. No, I want other people to know so they don't make the same mistakes, And if I do something right, I want to share that too, because I never want to be in a scarcity mentality. I think there is plenty to go around for everybody in this industry. And I really think because I have that approach and that mindset, and I really just love to build up businesses with other people. That's actually why, how I get my clients. They see that and they appreciate that, because they have also said, man, everybody in this industry, they're always like so on top of everything, and it's intimidating for others, you know? And so when you open yourself up and show the vulnerable side and the real side, you know, it draws people in, or at least it draws the clients that I want to work with in, which is perfect. So they don't expect me to be perfect. I don't expect them to be perfect. We're learning and growing along the way. I just have a little bit more knowledge than they do and can help guide them. And, you know, again, not make the same mistakes that I did. So yes, I feel like I've been coaching a lot longer than I've actually had a structured program. And I've always wanted to be a teacher. So it's kind of perfect now. It's kind of come full circle. And I'm really, really enjoying coaching. And I coach women in real estate, more specifically newer women in real estate investing. You know, they've been trying to dive in and are struggling, and they need a little extra help, or they're brand spanking new and they know nothing. And they're like, I want to dive in, but I'm terrified. And so I have a little bit of both there. And it's been really, really exciting. And I'm loving all my clients in my group coaching program and in my one-on-one. And I just can't wait to see this coaching business grow even more and help more women build their businesses.
Oh, that's so exciting. And I love that you have so many different entry points for people along, you know, because somebody personality wise, they might prefer a one-on-one coach because they don't want the vulnerability of a group, or, you know, sometimes that's financially, you know, that entry is a little bit more. So it could be easier to go into a group setting. And I'm not basing that off of anything I know about what your rates are or anything like that. But I'm saying, like, you know, when I've looked at programs in the past, you know, oftentimes there is that. So it's nice to have just a variety of entry points for people to come in. One of the things that caught me about this is that so often, and women in particular, they will give. And a lot of women are just like super givers, and they're like, let me just, hey, you know, I mean, if you ever have children, you know, like the unsolicited advice that you get from the, you know, moms out there, they ask me how I know, oh, you should be doing this and this and this, right? Women love to share their advice and their experience, and often they don't expect anything in return. And it's not, at some point, we need to actually have some level of wherewithal to say, I'm offering something and it's really valuable, and my time is important, and my talents and my experience and my knowledge, all of these things are important and of value, and it is appropriate for me to be compensated. Can you tell me a little bit about that transition that you took? Because the listeners, they might be more on my mindset side of listening. And so this is not necessarily real estate specific, but you could have some niche that you're in and you're an expert in it, and you need to make this transition and you're not realizing it.
Absolutely. And I love that you bring that up, because yes, I do totally agree. As women, actually, I had to coach one of my one-on-one clients on that today. She was giving so much to you know, her partners in her real estate investing business, potential, and, you know, new people. And I was like, oh my gosh, we need to hone it in. Like, we need to focus on your business first. And then, you know, and you really shouldn't be giving this away for free anyways. And really, when it comes down to it, I have paid for my experience and knowledge. One, I joined a program when I started, you know, investing in real estate that wasn't cheap. And two, experience is time and money, right? All of the projects that I've done, whether they're wholesale deals, flips, rentals, new construction, I have learned hard, expensive lessons on those deals, right? That's how we learn, right? We make mistakes. Okay. I'm never going to claim that I'm perfect, because nobody is perfect. I don't believe in perfectionism. And I've learned hard lessons, and those shouldn't be free, you know, for everybody else. I've paid for education and I've learned along the way. And it was really difficult for me in the beginning to feel like, oh, I want to charge for this, because it's like, oh, I don't want to advertise myself as some real estate guru and I know it all and da 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 da. And once I did the mindset work on that, I did a lot of work on my money mindset. I realized exactly what you just said. The value that I have to offer is worth being compensated for. And actually, my second paid client that I got for one-on-one coaching, I've been friends with her and providing her real estate advice for years. And she actually thanked me for charging her and for charging other women. She said, thank you, Misty. I am so glad that you are finally charging money for the advice and information and expertise and knowledge that you're providing to women in real estate, because I've been such an advocate for women in real estate that I was giving it all away for free. And the fact she thanked me for charging her money was like, okay, so there's these things that are happening that I'm now realizing and understanding my value and my worth. And so it's much easier to ask, for that. And also when I'm talking to these potential clients, I don't even have to sell anything because all I'm doing is talking about the program, which is them, by the way. We craft a program around them in the one-on-one coaching because, like you said, everybody's in a different place in their real estate investing journey, their mindset, their goals, their obstacles. So each program is crafted around each client. And so I get really deep with my clients on what's called our enrollment calls. And I basically sell it without selling it. They see the value. So then when it comes time to actually talk about the program and the pricing of the program, they're like, where do I sign up? Like there's no reservation there because they see the value in what I'm providing. But I'm also not coming from a place of self where it's all about me on the call. It's actually 100% about them. And so that's the difference. And I've joined a coaching program to actually help me with all of this as well. It's helped me with my money mindset. It's helped me structure my coaching programs, how to price my coaching programs, how to market my coaching programs in a very organic, authentic, natural, honest way. And that was the only way I wanted to build a coaching business. That's why I was so hesitant for so long, because I do believe there's some people out there that are not very authentic, organic, and that's fine. If that worked for you, that just wasn't going to work for me. And so I held off on doing it for so long. And now I'm so happy to be doing it in the way I want to do it and building it in the way I feel very proud of. And I've never had a client go, oh my gosh, Misty, I can't believe you're asking to charge me that much. That is absolutely absurd. I've never had anybody. If anything, it's, man, I need to find the money to do this. I want to do this with you, so that makes me feel good that I'm not overcharging or, and that I am providing a value for the amount of money that I'm asking for.
And then you're getting that, it goes both ways, and you're being compensated for it. It's exhausting when you are pouring into other people. And if you're doing it in a genuine, authentic place where it is focused on your client, on your student, and you want to see them succeed, that means you're thinking about that person. And we've known each other off social media, but we haven't known each other deeply, but I already know you're thinking about
I'm invested. I'm like, your success is my success. And I am like fully, sometimes I have to check myself, like, like, Misty, this is their business. We need to let them do the work. You know what I mean? Because I'm so invested and I hear it in their voice how badly they want to succeed, but it truly is up to them on how they show up. And I'm there to call them out when they're not showing up. I have those tough coaching sessions as well. Like, do you really want this? Your actions aren't showing it. I hear it in your voice. And they actually are so grateful for that because they need somebody to hold them accountable and make sure they're doing the things they need to be doing to build the business. Because as we said, like, this doesn't happen overnight. It's not easy. It's absolutely worth it, but it does help to have somebody hold you accountable, help build up that self-confidence, make sure you're doing the things that you need to be doing to achieve the goals that you want to achieve and build the business of your dreams, for sure.
I am a huge advocate for coaches, trainers, like any amount of, especially I say, let me stumble over my words here for a second.
I just got so excited. I totally understand.
Apparently, I'm just so excited. But, when you are unable to have that higher level of accountability within yourself and you want something, and I know that people are listening right now and there's something that you want to tackle. It could be, that you want to cut back on your sugar intake. It could be you want to hit the gym. It could be you want to, advance higher in whatever career you're in. We all have something that we're trying to aspire to achieve. And if we don't have those checks and balances within us, that accountability, that outside accountability is paramount. Now, I invite tons of accountability into my life. That's why I started a book club. I just start all sorts of things, hey, just launch a podcast. There's accountability right there,
Yes, absolutely.
But there's something even more when you have money on the line. Mm-hmm. There's this switch. What is up with that?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Definitely. There's such a big difference. I remember when I started one-on-one coaching, you can take on some free clients to kind of get going. And I did see a difference between, free clients and ones that had actually paid. And then I offer, I offer two different programs, a 3-month program and a 6-month program. Obviously the 6-month program is more expensive, and you see a difference there sometimes. And it really is, when there's money on the line, it's like you show up. It's almost like if you have a Planet Fitness, membership for $10 a month, okay, maybe I'll go to the gym. But if you're paying a CrossFit gym, $150 a month, your butt's going to that gym as much as possible because you want to get your money's worth. It really is, it levels you up in a sense, and you want to show up more. And so that's another reason why coaches should charge, right? And they shouldn't skimp, because then you're going to get a higher caliber person that's going to take it more seriously, because it really is true that your client's success is your success. I don't want a bunch of clients that aren't going to show up. I'm coming to the table every session 110%. I expect the same from my clients. And that's the only way they're going to see the success anyways. So it really does make a difference there. And I didn't actually really truly realize that until kind of starting coaching. And I'm like, oh, okay, I see the difference. And it makes a lot of sense. So, yeah.
It is powerful. So somebody's listening right now, and maybe they want to go into real estate. Maybe there's a female out there and she's like, well, I want to go into real estate, but there could be a lot of other listeners that have something they want to achieve. What would you say to them when it comes to finding the right fit for a coach for them for whatever they're going down? How do we vet the coach?
Good question. So I would say, first and foremost, you want to vibe with whoever that person is. Okay.
100%.
It's so important. And I don't feel like people talk about this. It is so important to get to know this person on a deeper level, to understand what their values are, how they show up, to make sure you align, because if you don't connect with them on that level, it's going to be difficult to take advice from them and really trust them, respect them. And that goes both ways, right? I've gotten on enrollment calls and been like, ooh, this is not a good fit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anybody that gets on enrollment calls, like, I want to get into real estate to get rich quick. I'm like, yep, we're not the right fit, and that's okay. Like I said, that if that's the whatever, but that is just not the right mindset. And so it has to go both ways. And so I think, really vibing with them and feeling a connection, a genuine, authentic connection with them is extremely important. And I would say that is first and foremost. And then 2, you want to vet your potential coach or mentor, whoever it is, just exactly like how you vet a real estate deal. Right? You want to do your research on them. And I openly provide, if you go on my Facebook, you can see everything that I do anyways, but, I provide all of that also. I'm like, here, look at my websites for my new construction company, for my remodeling company, for my wholesaling company, for my group coaching program. Like, I provide all of that. I'm like, vet me. Please vet me, because I want you to feel 100% comfortable and confident in who I am and what I'm doing. Because again, you would vet that person just like any other real estate transaction.
Preach it.
Right?
Exactly. There we go. I love it. Okay. So you've been talking a lot about this. You've mentioned also that you've had some coaching experiences that have helped you shift your own thinking about, okay, well, maybe I should charge. And I'm sure in a lot of other ways. Can you talk about how that has shifted your mindset more recently?
Absolutely. So I actually found my personal life and business coach through the Women's Real Estate Investor Alliance group that I started. We just celebrated our 3-year anniversary actually on Tuesday.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And
wait, on Tuesday, I have to interrupt. That was March 2nd. That was my daughter's birthday. That was the 1-year anniversary of my podcast. So I'm excited that we have a share.
Yeah.
My podcast, my daughter has a birthday buddy with my brother. And now my podcast has a birthday buddy with you.
So many celebrations. I love that. That's awesome. See, March is a good month.
It's a great month.
It is. So yes, we started, myself and another female investor, we started that group 3 years ago. Before COVID, we did have monthly networking events. And now we're just a Facebook group for right now. But in that group, I actually found my life and business coach because I did a post about mindset. And I shared a podcast that I listened to, and I was like, wow, I'm really digging in deep to this mindset stuff, and it's making a difference in my businesses. And she responded and said, hey, I actually went to the same life coach school as the podcaster, and I'm a life and business coach, and I would love to offer a free session to any of the ladies in here who are interested. So obviously I was like, yes,
sign me up.
Yeah, definitely. And so we did one session and I was hooked. And so I worked with her for the last year. And she is actually who I started Her Mindset Matters REI group coaching program with.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was crazy. We started working together for a few months, and she's like, everything I'm working with you on, I have other clients, female real estate investors. They're kind of going through the same stuff and working through the same things. What would you think about creating a group coaching program? I'll be the mindset side, you be the real estate investing side. And she is an investor herself too. She passively invests. And I was like, yes. And so we created Her Mindset Matters REI group. And then basically, as I was working with her in group coaching, she was like, you really need to do one-on-one coaching. These women love you. They want to work with you beyond the 6-week program that we have. And so that's how I transitioned into one-on-one coaching. So I've worked with her. And she definitely helped me with my business mindset and looking at things with a CEO mindset instead of getting emotional. As women, we tend to be a little overly emotional at times.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I know, right? Never. And I was really making decisions or getting upset. I wasn't looking at things logically. I needed to be looking at it as a CEO, as a business, as I was getting too emotional about things. So she taught me how to do that. And it's made oh my gosh, like a huge impact in my businesses. Nothing ruffles my feathers anymore. It's really crazy. And I mean, I used to get we call them tailspins, where I would just be like, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and that. I don't do that anymore, which is wonderful.
Okay, wait. I have to pause you here. If I were listening to this podcast episode and I heard you say all that and the host did not say something, I'd be infuriated. I would do a tailspin. Why? Why didn't they ask the question? You have to give you got to give a gem. How did you break the tailspin?
So
it's layered, I'm sure, because it's mindset and so many things. But on a surface level, could the audience kind of start to get a window into something they can do? Right?
Absolutely. So she taught me what's called a thought model. Okay. And that's where you take a thought. So there's a circumstance that happens in your life that's like a neutral fact, right? And you have a thought about it. And a lot of times we can be overly emotional and dramatic about this thought. Okay. So like COVID, for example, is a neutral circumstance. It's something that's happening. So I can either have a thought about it that's like, oh my gosh, this is a thought that I had, by the way. When COVID started, we were building 24 townhomes inside the loop in Houston, Texas. And I had this horrible thought of, oh my gosh, COVID's happening. Everybody's going to lose their job. The economy is going to take a tank. We're going to have 24 townhomes that I don't know when we're going to sell them. That's a tailspin, right?
Right.
So I was just going on COVID and then this and this and this and this. That's a tailspin. So instead, I have a thought of, okay, COVID is happening. What is it that I can control in my businesses? Do I want to stop all of these new construction projects? Does that make sense and see what happens? Or am I going to move forward and just keep a very close eye on what's going on in the economy and the real estate market, which I should anyways as a real estate investor, right? Why should that change with what's going on? You just maybe keep a closer eye on it. And so I could now logically look at the situation. It takes all the emotion out of it. And so when you have a more positive thought, you redirect your thought instead of, oh my gosh, the economy, you have no, I'm going to control what I can control in my business and on my projects. I have better thoughts and feelings about that thought creates better feelings. I feel confident. I feel in control. I feel empowered. I feel relaxed instead of stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, whatever, scared. And so then that creates better actions, which creates better results. So it's called a thought model. So every time I feel myself like, I don't know, I do a thought model. And so I address kind of what I'm feeling, and then I create a different thought around it, redirect it to a more positive thought, which then creates more positive feelings. And it just takes all the motion and the drama out of it so you can look at things more logically. Because in the tailspins, we are literally in a tailspin and the world is ending, right? And you can't think logically in that moment because the world is ending, in your opinion. And so it has changed my life. And so now I use thought models all the time with my clients, with my one-on-one clients, in a variety of ways, whether it's on deals, maybe it's building the self-confidence for them to cold call, to find deals, in analyzing deal. It just, you can use it in any situation, which is amazing. And so, yes, you kind of need some structure behind it to really understand how to use it correctly. But that is how I've really become a CEO of my life and my business, because I use those thought models in my life as well, right? In my personal, if something happens, I can look at it more logically. So it's made a world of a difference, like night and day difference. I'm so grateful for my life and business coach, Deidre, and for her teaching me that. And we teach that to our Mindset Matters members, and now my one-on-one group coaching, or my one-on-one clients as well.
That is powerful. I am so glad that I'm like, pause. We can't go on. My mind is stuck. I have to hear how you did this. That is exciting. And that's actually very tangible and a good gateway. And also a good, good insight into the value of a coach. Like a lot of times, I think right now, some of the coaching markets can seem, right, I'm getting pitched coaching programs all the time in whatever social feed. And so you can start to get this belief that, oh, well, everybody's a coach. Mm-hmm. No, not everybody's a coach. You're just seeing a lot of this. And, when you find a valuable coach, I had a similar thing. I had a coach during the pandemic, and it was all a coincidental thing that I had this coach during this time, but it was all on mindset and perspective and everything. And it was one of the tenets that kept me anchored down during that time. Absolutely. And shifted things. So the power of a third party coach, somebody who's invested in you, but not emotionally in the tailspin of your life and the roller coaster that might be, so that they can anchor you down and give you strategies that you can implement that will change your life forever. Mm-hmm. It's so powerful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That outside perspective, and somebody to just take a deep breath, calm down, like, let's really look at this logically, right? And that's really what the difference is, because a lot of times when we feel those tailspins coming on, or those emotions or those negative thoughts, we go to our friends and our family, and they're like, oh my gosh, oh yes, no, oh gosh, yes, the economy. And they actually fuel it, and it doesn't help the situation, right? And so that's what was happening. And it was just like, oh man, I can't keep living like this. Like, I can't keep, and I actually suffer from anxiety. And so I don't even know the last time I've had an anxiety attack. Like, I literally know exactly when it's coming on, and I know how to deal with it now. And that also comes from some other programs that I've done. I listened to another podcast, Mindset Mentor, Rob Dial, and now I'm part of his programs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing.
I've been listening to him for a few years. Yeah, he's amazing.
So I'm doing a couple of his programs too. And actually one of his programs was called Rewire Your Brain. That's where I dove really deep into my money mindset, because I was realizing I was actually getting in my own way of building success. And so I needed to change some thoughts about how I looked at money and success and wealth and all of that. And so I'm super grateful for that as well. And that's the thing, is like, there's so many different programs out there, and it is important to find one that works for you. Not every program or coach is going to be good for you. And I've been very fortunate to have found the right people at the right time. Like, Deidre came into my life in February, and COVID happened in March, and thank goodness she was there. And, I had the time to dive into the money mindset last year, and I'm so grateful that program came along just in time to do it. I was already dipping my toe in the water of the money mindset, and boom, I was like, yes, rewire your brain. Let's do this, And now I've actually been part of a couple of Rob Dial's programs. And one of them, he's helping me actually build out my coaching program, which has been amazing. So it really does make such a difference. And I think people don't realize, and when you think about it, like, professional athletes hire coaches, they pay big dollars to hire coaches. We go to college, and we have professors, and we pay big dollars to get that education. Why wouldn't it be any different in real estate investing or other markets like that? Why would you not be open to at least exploring it, right?
Well, what's interesting also, if you think about it, you spend, these first many years of your life, the formidable shaping years of your life, you spend in an in an institution of some sort. And then all of a sudden it's supposed to be this magic thing like, oh, you have a college degree. Now you don't need any coaching or anything. Go live your life. And it's like,
what?
yeah, so I could do that, and that's how people in general live. Instead of saying, okay, great, I want to be super successful emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically, in every way. I want to be successful, and that means inviting these other people into my life along the way, and switching it up along the way, and getting the right coach over the years for whatever stage of life that you're in.
Absolutely.
So amazing. Well, I could stay on this topic for like the entire time, but I am so curious also about some of the, so we really did talk mostly. I always do.
Go right into mindset, didn't we?
We did.
That's okay.
It's just natural, apparently. But
yes.
You have learned some things the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
And there is such a tremendous value to learning through pain and passing that along so that other people can avoid those potholes or straight on cliffs in life. So, what's something that you have learned throughout your investing that you'd say, hey, ask me how I know about that? Or it could be like, ask me how I know this worked out really well.
I would say if the biggest lesson learned through real estate investing, going from being an employee to an entrepreneur, huge learning curve. I think that people believe that if they're super successful in their careers and they're climbing the corporate ladder, that when they leave to become an entrepreneur, it's going to be easy because they were climbing the corporate ladder. They were doing well. They were successful. They're an overachiever, whatever it is. Holy crap, like huge learning curve. And I don't think, one, people realize that, and two, they don't allow time for the learning to happen. I would say going into real estate investing, we dove in full time. We left our corporate jobs. I run my businesses with my boyfriend of 17 years, and we were in corporate America for a long time, and we did very well, and we just weren't happy. And so we decided we wanted to do real estate investing full time, and we dove full in. And I think because we both have a construction background, we worked for a general contractor, that we thought, oh, this is going to be easy. Oh, flipping houses, okay. Not the same as what we were doing. And so we had to account for the learning curve. And a lot of times people do make it seem that this can happen overnight and it's very easy, and it's not. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of learning. It takes a lot of growing as a person, really understanding your marketing campaigns, how to work them, how to talk to these sellers, how to analyze deals, how to talk to lenders. It's not that easy. And so I think there's just this misconception that, and I think, wow, if it was that easy, everybody would be a super successful real estate investor. So I don't know why I thought it was going to be easier, but I think it was, we came from a construction background and we did well in corporate. And so I really am very honest with my clients that I'm like, okay, this isn't going to happen overnight. So if you expect it to, like, we need to have a reality check right now. And there's going to be some big learning curves. And I think just understanding that and not beating yourself up when things aren't happening like that, and when you do have mistakes and you fall flat on your face, that it's okay. That's actually a beautiful moment, because you're going to learn something very valuable in that moment. And we've fallen on our face, quite a few times. And I actually wouldn't change any of it, because every lesson learned has made us better as people and has made our businesses better. So I wouldn't change anything, but I wish I would have given myself that pep talk of like, okay, it's going to take some time and there's going to be a learning curve, and that's okay. It's really okay, and it should be expected. And so now that's a big message that I share, on these podcasts with my clients, is just don't expect it to happen overnight, and it's okay to make mistakes, and it's going to happen, and just be patient with the process and enjoy the journey along the way. When I look back at everything that I went through, I'm like, wow, if I wouldn't have went through all that I did, I wouldn't have a whole lot to coach these women in real estate on. I wouldn't have these very valuable lessons learned to share with them, and I wouldn't know how to tell them how to do certain things or share with them. And I look back and I'm like, it all makes sense to me now. I'm a big believer of everything happens for a reason. And I really truly see that now. And I see the journey that I went through and the person that I've become and am still becoming. And I'm very grateful for that. I wouldn't change anything about our journey, like literally nothing. And, I don't know if there's a lot of people that can say that, but I'm just being very present and very grateful for everything, because it all happened the way it was supposed to.
It's interesting. I used to tell, when I was a classroom teacher, I would tell my second grade students, the learning is in the struggle. And I had explained it and laid the foundation so that I could use that expression in there. I have to tell myself that regularly, regularly. Like, and I tell my own children that, like, what's the point in life if everything is always easy?
Yeah.
Then you're not learning anything new. Like, we don't build muscle. We don't grow when we're just doing easy. I go to the gym and I'm, lifting weights or something, or I'm jogging. I'm not going to grow unless I'm like putting more weights on there or running a little bit harder or longer or something. And it's like, why do we expect, this is one of those other disconnects that we seem to have, where it's like, wait, why are we disconnecting this? We should be struggling in some capacity if we're progressing.
Yep, absolutely. That's how you become the person you need to be to achieve what you want to achieve. And I've never truly understood that until recently. It's like, wow, like, it's so true that if our goals, we would have achieved those already if we were the person that we needed to be to achieve those, right? And so I always want to be growing. I always want to be evolving. I want to be and do better every single day. And instead of looking at that like, oh gosh, I have to, learn this new thing or whatever, I actually welcome it now, because I know that it's going to better my businesses, and I'm going to actually be able to help more women in my coaching, also by growing and learning and doing and being better daily. And so now I welcome it every day. I'm like, bring it on. Let's do it.
Right. There's some confidence you have to develop when you come to the point of acceptance and you accept that part, like, this is part of the process. And then that confidence that comes when you make it through and you realize you've made it through. And it's like, oh, okay, I get through that. I can get through this. I can get through this. And then you start just enjoying it. That's where the enjoyment comes, or that's been my experience, I should say, is that, I got knocked around in my early 20s, and it was like, but I made it through it. And then you have these ahas and you're like, oh, okay, that's how this works. I can do this.
Yes, absolutely. I can do hard things. That's one of my favorite quotes that Deidre, my life and business coach, has said to me multiple times. And now I say it all the time. I'm like, I can do hard things. And actually every time that I do a hard thing, I'm like, yes, like I feel like I can take over the world, And so just really allowing that, and not letting the frustration take over, because we're all so worried about, but when I get here, stop. Just look at where you are now and where you came from. Because I guarantee you've come a long way, a lot further than you're actually giving yourself credit for. And there's always going to be when I get there, right? Or if you're an overachiever or you set big goals, like, you're always going to have that next goal. So stop saying when I get there, because guess what? There's always going to be one more that you're going to set and set and set. So like, be present and enjoy the journey, and really like understand what you're going through, what you're experiencing, how you're growing, how you're evolving. And that's what I'm doing now. Is I still catch myself sometimes and I'm like, oh, but what about the future? And I'm like, no, stop. Like, be present, be grateful, understand where you've come from and where you're going. Yes. But like, really just take it in. And it's made such a difference, and it calms me. It really does calm me, and just, I don't know, it helps me be better in my businesses, because you need to be present. You can't always be worried about the future. You need to have goals, but you can't always be focused on the future. Otherwise, you're going to miss everything that's going on right in front of you. So, yeah.
That's right. Be in the now, because if you're in the now, then you're actually doing the prep work. You're doing all the reps to be the person that you need to be where you want to be in the future. And if you're too busy looking at the future, you're not doing the now, you're not going to be ready for the future.
Right. Absolutely.
The future is going to come. You just might not like the version of the future that you had, that you chose.
That's true. That is true. Absolutely. It's so crazy. And then I think too, people beat themselves up. They expect, some of the goals that people have. I love big, beautiful goals, but it's also, we need to be realistic, and we need to be prepared to put in the work. And then when they don't reach those goals super fast and right here and now, they beat themselves up and they really take it so personal. And instead of taking it like, it's like, okay, well, what did I do? And what didn't I do? Did I actually show up every day to build this real estate investing business the way that I'm supposed to? And most of the time that people are not, And so you're frustrated, but it's like, but are you really doing what you're supposed to be doing? And unless you're really digging into the present and now, you're not going to pay attention to that, or you're just going to push that aside. And it's like, well, how are you going to get there if you're not doing what you're supposed to do now? You got to take full responsibility. You really do. You got to own it. And that's part of being present and, telling yourself like, well, I didn't show up today. Okay. So how am I going to show up tomorrow? Let's do this right now, So it's being honest.
Personal accountability right there. Mm-hmm. I cannot believe how fast our time has gone by. I want to give you a moment. Is there any final nuggets or gems that you'd like to pass along to the audience?
I probably shared, the really just be patient, with the journey, enjoy the journey, dig in deep to yourself. I feel like most people just kind of go through the motions of what they're supposed to do. And it's really important to get a really good understanding of what it is that you want, because the cool thing about this real estate investing business is you can make it whatever you want it to be. So don't worry about what everybody's telling you should do or should not do or whatever. Like, take the time to go, what is it that I want to build? What type of business? What are my core values? What do I want to focus on? Is it wholesaling? Is it flips? Is it new construction? Is it all of it? I'm doing all of it. So that's possible. But did I do all of it in the beginning? No. Right. So really, but understand what it is that's so important to you. So for me right now, my present is coaching, and I am loving it. Now, I'm fortunate to have business partners that are running, our new construction business and our remodeling business. I'm running our wholesaling business, but I really get to be so present in coaching, and I'm seeing how I have such a passion for it. And yes, I have a passion for real estate investing, but I would say my boyfriend, Jason, he wants to just go build stuff all day long. Do I want to do that? No. I don't. I want to coach all day long. So it works out great because I still get to be very involved in the real estate investing businesses, but I get to do what I'm super passionate about. And I didn't really realize how passionate I was about it until I started doing it. And I was very honest with myself. I started group coaching and I was like, you know what? I love this. How can I take this to the next level? I'm so passionate about this. And I really had to be very honest with myself and have that conversation with him as well. Like, hey, what do you think about me doing this full time? Could I take a step back from the real estate investing businesses and be a little more passive than active? And fortunately, I have the support to do that. But it takes a lot of guts to dig deep and ask yourself, what is it that I want, right? And I don't think people do that enough. They just kind of do what everybody tells them to do. And when you're starting a business, I don't care what it is, you better be passionate and you better know what it is, because it's not going to be easy and you're going to have really hard days. And when you have such a strong why and this is what I want and this is why, it makes it so much easier to get through that tough stuff, right? And to show up for yourself and to hold yourself accountable. And I want to see more of that. I want people to really ask themselves those questions instead of just go through the motion every day of living their life. Like, what are you living your life for, right?
Or who? Yeah, I've spoken about this on some mindset episodes. Like, don't be just a gray person just going through the motions. Like, you don't have to do things to please other people. And this, what I call the spectators in our lives, like, they don't have to live your life. They don't have to wake up in your body. They don't have to go to your job. They don't have to deal with your children they don't have to deal with any of that. So silence the spectators in your life and dig deep, like you're saying, and understand, like, what is it that I want from this life? What do I want to unearth and bring about?
I love it. Beautiful. Beautifully said, 100%. And I think too, as women, we do worry so much about what others are saying and thinking. And, we want to please, the 3 Ps. What is it? Perfectionism, people pleasing, and procrastination. Those are like the 3 Ps. And it's just like, no, like you don't, and that's why I say, like, I'm a recovering perfectionist and it's still something I struggle with, but I really, truly, I tell myself daily, perfectionism doesn't exist. And it's okay to not be perfect because nobody's perfect. And if I was perfect, I wouldn't grow and evolve and do and be better every day because I'd be perfect. So what would be the point of that, And then the people pleasing is like exactly what you said. It's like really just digging in and like understanding that they are spectators and they're a part of your life, but they're not waking up and living your life every day. So just be really honest with yourself. And then you can decide if you want to make the change or not. If you want to continue and keep going the way that you're going, that's your choice, right? But we have that power to go, no, I want to do something different. I want to wake up and I want to explore this, or I want to start this habit, or I want to whatever it is. Like, people don't realize how much power we have. Like, we are 100% control in of our lives, but we have to take responsibility of that and don't procrastinate on it. Like, if that's something you truly want, you only have one life, like freaking go for it. And so those are like just some massive lessons learned. And I've been able to fortunately dive deep into that because of working with coaches and being comfortable with asking myself the tough questions finally, right? And it's like, I'm so grateful for that. At 37 years old, now it's finally time to like, what does Misty want? And I'm grateful to be doing that also before I have children, because I want to still make myself a priority when kids are in the picture and things get busier and more hectic and whatever else. And so I hope that people do ask that question more often and then they go for it. They really make that effort and make that change and go for what they want, because life is beautiful when you go for it. It's not easy, but it is absolutely beautiful. And the journey is amazing for sure.
100% agree with that. And there's no reason to not go for it. There just isn't anything more special about somebody who's successful and you. They went in, they dove in, they did 110%. And if anyone's willing to do the work, they can get wherever they want to get in life.
Absolutely. Just don't give up. Do not give up. If it's something you want that badly, keep going. Absolutely. Find a way. Find a freaking way.
Yes. Misty, what is the best way for people to reach out to you?
Sure. So I'm on Facebook. I'm not on any of the other social media platforms. I need to be, but I'm not yet. So I am on Facebook. Feel free to reach out and friend me. Our new construction company is Elevated Development. So if you're in the Houston area and you're looking for a builder, we are an investor-friendly builder. We also have a remodeling company called Level Up Remodeling. We have websites, to find those. And then my email, it's kind of a long one, but it's misty@guidewayinvestmentpartners.com. And so you can definitely email me. And then obviously, if you're interested in either group coaching or one-on-one coaching, reach out. If you want to check out our group coaching program, we are actually going to be revamping it for the next group that's coming through, but you can still get an idea of what we're about at www.hermindsetmattersrei.com. And obviously, if you just reach out to me on Facebook, I can send you all these awesome links and give you my email as well. But yes, I love Facebook. I'm all over it. I'm in a bunch of real estate investing groups, as are you. And it's just a great way to network, especially now. But I love connecting with all types of people in real estate, and I love growing our businesses together. So please do feel to connect with me, in whatever way. If you listen to us have this chat and you loved what you heard, let's connect.
Definitely. And all of the links will be inside, down at the bottom of the show notes, so that it just makes it easy to click and go.
Awesome. I love it.
Misty, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun. I know it went by so fast.
I know. I always have my phone over to the side just so I can have a clock nearby. And then I'm like, I should probably look. Oh my gosh. And that's how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm always down to come back and chat more. So just let me know.
Absolutely fantastic. I might do that. And to my awesome listeners, please remember, if you have not already reviewed, rated, subscribed, kissed a lollipop, I don't know. I mean, there are all these bells and whistles out there. So but I would be absolutely honored if you would make sure that you share this episode with someone you think that would benefit from this, and that you would just rate this and review it. It makes all the difference in the world for the podcast and getting it out there in an organic way. Until next time, go find your freedom.
Thanks so much for joining me for another episode of Ask Me How I Know. This episode was brought to you by 3 Keys Investments. They are dedicated to helping people like you, you, my awesome listeners, develop passive income and legacy wealth through multifamily investing. Feel free to check out their website, 3keysinvestments.com, to see if there is an offering that will help your portfolio grow and meet all of your needs. If you haven't already rated, reviewed, subscribed, liked, all of those bells and whistles, I would be absolutely honored if you would do that for Ask Me How I Know. Thanks again, and go make it a great day.